Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm hath found the restless way, who bids the mighty ocean deep its own appointed limits keep. Oh, hear us when we cry to Thee for those in peril on the sea. O Trinity of love and power, our brethren, shield in danger's hour, from rock and tempest, fire and foe, protect and bless.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Command Master Chief Freddie Richter. It is my pleasure to welcome you to today's retirement ceremony in honor of Senior Chief Yeoman Scott Jones, United States Navy. We would like to acknowledge the presence of our distinguished guests, Commander Sean William, Commanding Officer, Naval Submarine Sports Center, and Senior Chief Jones' family. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing until the completion of the invocation. Boatswain, post to side boys.
Post to sideways eye. Sideways. Post.
Senior Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, arriving. Naval Submarine Support Center, arriving. Boatswain, retire to side boys.
Retire to sideways eye. Sideways. Post. Left or right. Face.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Brian Gibbons will deliver the invocation.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we celebrate and are thankful that perseverance and willingness to do the tough jobs has been the legacy of Senior Chief Scott Jones for the last 26 years of faithful naval service. Please bless and guide him as he enters the next chapter of life. Thank you for this time that we have here together, and may we leave this place today as stronger people. I ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Guests, please be seated. Because after all, we are gathered here to witness the final stage of a very full, productive military career that spans 26 years. 5 presidents, and 7 Master Chief Petty Officers of the Navy. We are gathered to say thanks for his many contributions, which in their own unique way have made our Navy a stronger and more capable force in our never-ending fight for peace in this sometimes troubled world. Thanks for the many dedicated hours and personal initiative that have helped to make our every commanding work the professional team it is today. Thanks for being the type of leader that has ensured the next generation of sailors, chiefs, and officers are ready to meet the challenges of tomorrow. Today, Senior Chief Jones will go ashore for the last time, culminating an exemplary naval career. Just as this is the end of one phase in his life, it is the beginning of another. Our gathering today also gives us the opportunity to wish him every success in the future as he looks forward to new challenges and new rewards. I extend an especially warm welcome to Senior Chief Jones' family, his daughter Katya, his parents Cheryl and Ed Bongareka, and Ron Jones. I know that you, more than any of us, are vividly aware of the sacrifices that Scott has made in the service of our country, and I speak for the entire command when I say how pleased we are to have you here today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's ceremony, Command Master Chief Kellen Boland. Master Chief Boland's biography is in your program. He currently serves as the Command Master Chief of Naval Submarine based in London. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Master Chief Boland.
Thank you, Master Chief Richter, friends and family of Senior Chief, soon to be only Scott Jones. Thank you all so much for being here. It's certainly a privilege and an honor for me to be a guest speaker. Scott asked me a couple months ago, after we got back from deployment, from North Dakota's second deployment. Scott asked me if I'd like to do it, and without hesitation, I think I responded with a glad yes. So thank you all so much for being here. It really, truly means a lot to the Submarine Force to be saying goodbye to a warrior like Scott Jones, knowing the legacy that he left. So I appreciate that. The family really appreciate that so much. First of all, I'd like to say welcome and thank you all for being here. Thank you for being here. It really means so much. I want you to give yourself a round of applause because this is no small feat what we have done here today. No small feat. I'm sure to make it to this point, it took a lot of effort, it took a lot of calculation, and it took a lot of stress and overcoming all that stress. So give yourself a round of applause for being here today. How about that? Scott, I'm actually talking to you. It is no small feat for you to be here today. Thank you for making it. We quite honestly weren't sure you were going to. I met Scott several years ago. A friend of mine, a senior chief, and a friend of mine who worked at squadron, we were playing basketball. Our ball rolled into Scott's guard, and he subsequently shook a cigarette-wielding fist at us and said, "Get off of my lawn." Honestly, if I have to characterize what today means to me, it's about resilience and trust. There are few people more resilient than Scott. His very long, impressively long career has had more twists than a New England back road. But at the end, Scott was there. Scott's always been there. More often for his sailors than even himself. Scott has always been there. And trust. Let me tell you a story about how far and how deep my trust of Scott Jones is. So it is my third underway, maybe my fourth underway, can't tell, I'm on North Dakota. And it's our captains first and our XOs first. And I am sitting in the countermeasures space, so that's where the chief of the boat hangs out. And I hear what sounds like a folding chair collapse. And then I hear the 4MC, which is an emergency announcing circuit, go off, and I hear a gunshot into the ear. Before I had the opportunity to even get out of my chair and sprint down there, the next 4MC that comes over, the next 1MC, which is the general announcing circuit that comes over, is Senior Chief Jones is the man in charge of the torpedo room. There's been a gunshot in the torpedo room. That day there were many heroes. Some are sitting with us today. One is sitting next to me, or I guess 2 seats down from me today. And what the newspapers and the Facebook posts, ill-advised or otherwise, didn't tell you that night was when you needed someone to be somewhere. Scott Jones had his sleeves rolled up. I don't know where he got rubber gloves from, but man, he got rubber gloves pretty quick. And he had his arm in the back of a Submarine second class named Kalen Holmes, and he was holding his back, blood covering Scott's hand, Scott saying, "You're going to be okay. We're going to get you there. You're going to be fine." And in the wardroom that night, you saw what a senior chief petty officer does. Scott never left his side. Scott told him, "You're going to be fine." Scott told the captain, "Sir, this is where I need to be. I'm right here." And then when push came to shove to try to figure out how to get the ship safely into port on the darkest night you'll ever see, the foggiest night you'll ever see, and that's just not my words, those are the words of the pilot, Rich Willett. Scott Jones was the one that said, "I'll stand pilot tonight to get the boys home safe." Scott Jones was the one with blood on his uniform that said, "We are getting this crew home safely tonight." And because of Scott, Kalen Holmes survived, and the crew made it in, and we all got to say thank you the next day to our loved ones. And that's because of the trust that our command, me, my captain, and our sailors had in Scott Jones. A true advocate for sailors isn't a word, or a true advocate for sailors, there aren't enough words to describe what Scott did. I can't count, there aren't enough hands that I can count on for the people that are more responsible for the success of hundreds of sailors than Scott. When I needed someone to make something happen or some task that seemed otherwise insurmountable, it was Scott I could ask to get it done, and he would. A phone call in the middle of the night, "Come and leave me, boss." "All right, man, this is what I need you to do." "Got it, it's done." Scott treated sailors with dignity and respect. They didn't always see it that way. But I knew in his heart, which may have been 8 sizes too small, was actually 8 sizes too big. Scott loved every single sailor on board. He knew that he was responsible for their growth as members of a profession of arms and as men. And I couldn't count in the hundreds the number of times that I would dispatch Scott to handle problems big or small. Scott handled so many adulting issues. That is where sailors don't know how to be adults, right? So Scott was my adult attaché. That means he was my representative to go figure out how folks to be adults. Scott, go to the police station, talk to security, let's get this kid out of trouble. Scott was there. "Hey Scott, why does this sailor have X number of ammo shells and ammo cans in the back of his trunk? Can you go figure that out for me?" "Yeah, got it." "Scott, go to the barracks and figure out why so-and-so is getting arrested again today." "Scott, meet me in the chief's quarters and let's see why Petty Officer so-and-so decided to steal an Xbox." An Xbox. Yeah. "Scott, help me figure out why 19-year-old sailor who can't tie his own shoes wants to get 18-year-old sailor who hasn't left home yet." There were none better at taking care of sailor and adulting issues than Scott. It's reflected, most of all, in his fatherhood. Katya, your dad thinks the entire world of you. The number of pictures of you in tutus and with flowers and puppies that rained into my rack because his was directly above mine and I had to constantly put back up on his rack, I can count in the hundreds. And as a father of daughters, first of all, I love your shoes. But nothing made him happier than those days that he could spend with you. The days he told me, "Come on, I'm leaving work early because I got to go pick up Katya." Those were the days that made him glow the most. And now you get more of them. So, kiddo, we've taken him as far as we can. Now it's your turn. She just gave me the biggest, widest eyes. She's like, "You realize what you just signed me up for?" Katya, your dad loves you, he thinks the world of you, and I'm sure I'm not the first or last person that he'll tell you that. You were in great hands, but you owe me a favor and keep him in good hands, okay?
Okay.
You got it. Scott was always the chief of staff. He knew the policies, he understood the people, and he kept the trains rolling in on time. A master administrator, brilliant with people, and a keen sense of right and wrong. There were days when I was glad that Scott was there, and there were so many more days I was sad when Scott wasn't. I know I can speak for the Navy now as well. There are few true masters of their trade, and we are losing one of those today. And we don't know yet in the Navy how that's going to hurt us. How losing such a critical member of the submarine community, the Chiefs community, and the yeoman community is going to hurt, but I trust you it will. Scott has made an impact on today and the future of our Navy, and for that I say thank you. More sailors are ready to go to sea, on more boats, with fewer time, because you stood the watch. I waited until this point because I didn't want to ruin your image, but Scott has a kind heart. He has a warm and embracing of affect and an old soul. That must be a really old soul. Scott was always a lively and engaging friend, from any topic to music, pop culture, politics, books that we were reading, leadership. Scott was always there. Scott could hold and engage you in that conversation better than most. Scott believed in possibilities for people and worked daily to see them actualized. Scott, thank you for your service and for the friendship. North Dakota will never be stronger than when you were on board. And this submarine force will never have been better than when you were in it. So to that, my friend, I say thank you for your years of dedication. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to call you friend. Family, congratulations and thank you. Scott's yours. Love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Sean William, Commanding Officer, Naval Submarine Support Center, will now present Senior Chief Jones with his end of tour award. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Attention to award. Department of the Navy. This is to certify that the Secretary of the Navy has awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Gold Star, in lieu of the fourth award, to Senior Chief Yeoman Submarines, Scott W. Jones, United States Navy, for meritorious service while serving as Administrative Officer for Naval Submarine Support Center, New London, from July 2019 to June 2021. Demonstrating unrelenting devotion to service, Senior Chief Jones coordinated with multiple external agencies to develop and manage COVID-19 programs that included travel restrictions, reimbursement for mandated isolation, lodging charges, and all restriction of movement requirements in an exceptionally dynamic environment. Through his forward-leaning leadership, the waterfront check-in program was redesigned and streamlined. He created the command's travel claim department, directly resulting in the seamless and accurate transition of over 4,000 sailors across the Groton waterfront. This superb tour of duty culminated a distinguished career of 26 years of loyal and faithful service to his country. By his exceptional professionalism and selfless devotion to duty, Senior Chief Jones reflected credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Given this 9th day of April 2021, for the Secretary, signed D.L. Caudle, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Commander of Submarine Forces Atlantic. Please be seated. See how I just sat you down when I'm going to ask you to come. Would Senior Chief Jones' family please join us up front for the next presentation? Certificate of Appreciation. Greetings.
Greetings!
By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the U.S. Navy to you for your unselfish, faithful, and dedicated assistance during your son and father's naval service. Your unfailing support and understanding have helped immeasurably to make possible his decision to continue his naval career. Given this 9th day of April 2021. Thank you, Navy family. You may return to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Chief Scott Jones, United States Navy.
Pull up my notes here. So to all those who shall see these presents, greetings! Greetings! 50-50 shot of that actually working, so thank you for not making me look bad. So I bet you're all wondering why I've gathered you here today. Say that could have gone a little better. I used to say that in the wardroom for every meeting the captain would call. It doesn't compare to the time on Annapolis when everything was very stressful in the wardroom and everybody's just looking at each other angry. And I looked at the captain and I used the word, well, irredisregardless. And the captain looked at me and said, what the hell did you just say? Irredisregardless, that's not a word. And he just died laughing. So it's always good to start off by making people laugh. So thank you for a couple of interesting stories about me. Kellen, that's your speech meant more to me than I can even begin to express. It's a day I'll never forget. All right, so I can't believe this is here. I've been going over this in my mind for the past month, maybe 2 months, of what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. I've spoken in front of crowds numerous times. I was here 3 months ago as a master of ceremony for our chief penny. My final chief penny that I'll ever actively participate in as a chief petty officer. And I'm happy that my select is here in the audience today. And I'm proud to see him wearing his anchors. It's a process that I'm really going to miss. And to be completely honest, I'm going to miss everything. It's about a week ago. I was walking out of the building, walking out to my car, and there was a boat pulling in. And for people that wear dolphins, seeing a submarine coming up the river, it means something. And it means even more when you realize, sorry, there's that damn heart you're talking to. It's his fault. But it means more to know that I'll never do it again. But the memories that I have and the people that I share it with are what really mean a lot to me. There's some people that are sitting here today that I followed in their footsteps. They mentored me and they trained me. I'm very fortunate to have Jerry Elliott. It's my first ever comm on the Springfield back in '96. Stop rolling your eyes, I saw it. But Jerry saw this kid, this 19-year-old moron, with from Detroit with a chip on his shoulder. Thought he knew everything. And he had a huge influence, and we've run into each other throughout my career. You know, I can't thank you enough. And it was a couple weeks ago when Jerry informed me that my first commanding officer passed away. Another man that had a great influence on me. Dave Collins is here, one of my cops on Annapolis. He had enough faith in me to qualify cop. And he pushed me, he challenged me. Kellen and Freddie. Where's Freddie? I lost him. There.
Blended in.
But two leaders that I look up to. Your faith in me on North Dakota, you gave me time to just run free and do what I had to do. And thank you. And Freddie, I know you've had to make phone calls, smooth things over after me. It's been said that I'm a hammer and server.
Once or twice.
But your faith and your fight at the end to try to keep me around when the Navy said that I had to go home means a lot. I don't seek awards. I don't seek gratitude. I hate being the center of attention. I hate the fact that everybody's focused on me. But I like seeing everybody around me successful. Oscar, the fact that you're here. Those of you who don't know, Oscar Martinez he's a retired senior chief yeoman. He was my leading yeoman on the San Juan back in 2002, 2003. And he saw something in me. And he somehow convinced the command to advance me to first class so that I could relieve him so he can go be with his family. He saw something and he set me on a path. Thank you.
It's an honor.
I'll never forget the time you pulled me off cruise mess when I did a half job cleaning something. And then I'll never forget the time I saw you wandering around drunk at Suda. It was 3 in the morning.
What happened to that ship's man?
Hey, we're not going to talk about that. Nobody should lay down road spikes on a pier. 4 tires that cost. Anyway, we're not going to talk. Pat, thank you for being here. PSD New London would not be complete without Pat. You have done more to guide not only myself, but the sailors of this base. And thanks to your efforts in the past month, the sailors of this base are ready to tackle some of the major electronic changes the Navy's pushing through. And they're more prepared to take care of their people because of you. Never mind the work that you've done over the past certain number of years. Thank you. It was an honor to work with you. So 26 years, I've had some struggles. 3 marriages. But I've learned. And I've always talked about the different life epiphanies that I have and the different changes that happened in my life. The first one was when I decided to join the Navy. The summer before my senior year of high school. And everybody looked at me like I was nuts. But it happened. And I left. Got to the Springfield. My next epiphany was when I got my Dolphins. I made it. There's a guy still wandering around the base named Scotty Miller. He's an old retired A-gang senior chief. I remember when he sat my crawl board. That was 4 hours of hell, let me tell you what. But it made me a better submariner. I'm not even following my nose. This is getting ridiculous. I've always heard the older generation talking about the younger generation, right? It's the same out in the civilian world as it is in the military. These kids today, they don't know anything. You know, they're concerned about themselves. And Freddie shared with me an article, what's written by the lady's name from the Wall Street Journal, Peggy Noonan, where she talks about the movie Black Hawk Down. Scene where Tom Sizemore is yelling at a kid getting Humvee. Drive to get these guys to safety. The kid says, I've been shot. Everybody's been shot. I took that to heart. Everybody today is worried about their problems, right? Their problems are the biggest alligator to their community. So if I could pass out a couple things to the people that are going to stay behind and continue this canoe club. You can't just focus on yourself. Everybody's got problems. Everyone's been shot. you're only going to get through it together. The story that Kellen told about how we got the boat in that day. Between taking apart part of the deck to get a stretcher up, to move it in on a place where you couldn't see the tug next to the ship, even with the floodlights on. That took 135 people working together in unison for one goal, and that's to save the sailor's life. That sailor was shot, but it took 130 men working together, putting their problems, their issues aside to focus on that goal. That's what matters. That's what this is about. It's not about the trainings, it's not about the NKOs, it's not about updating your NFAS. For those of you that know, the semi-annual ridiculousness that happens. Anyway, what it's about is focusing and getting the job done. Doesn't matter how small the job, or whether it's getting a boat out there to do God's work. It's doing it together. To the man or woman sitting to your right or left. The ones that you're going to go to sea with. The ones that you want to bring home safe. If I could pass anything along to you, it's that. Put yourself aside and care about the people around you. I'm going to miss all of you. It's your fault. All right. One more piece of advice. Don't buy thin ribbons from East End and stars fall off. All right. That's my reset point. So I'm going to thank a few people because aside from those I thank, there are people that propped me up, held me up when I needed it. For longer than 26 years. I know it's hard to believe I was alive for longer than that, but longer than the 26 years that I've worn this uniform. First, my parents, my mom, dad, Ed, John, my brothers. There are no words. When I needed love, you gave it to me. When I needed that heavy hand, you gave it to me. I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for all of you. From very different sides of lines, you came together to ensure that I made it. Mom, your undying support of me. You could write books about it. Ed, your logic and the common sense speech that you use with me cuts through the static and helps me see clarity. Dad, I don't even know what to say. Your honesty, whether I wanted to hear it or not, got me through more struggles than I can speak of. Thank you. Thank you. Josh, I can't believe you're here, man. I am so floored that you drove through the night from Detroit to get here. Thank you. I remember us idiot kids, doing the most ridiculous things. And looking at each other and saying, hey, we're going to make it through. And we did, and here we are. I'm sorry our other brother can't be here. But, if I had a choice between being in Florida or Connecticut, I applaud his choice. Jason, for you and Kasha, thank you for taking care of Katya. For all the times that I was at sea. Giving her a family. And this extends out also to Richard and Diana. The most important thing in my life is my daughter. But despite her importance, I had to sacrifice to provide her with a life. I could only leave knowing that she'd be safe because of all of you. I cannot thank you enough. Got you? Little cat? I know you're hungry. And I also can't believe that you're 7 years old. Yeah. You are growing so fast and you make me so proud. It smells good? I want you to know how much I love you and how proud I am of you. And I hope that years from now, when you're looking back, you can be proud of me too. All right, I talked long enough. Thank you everybody for being here. And I look forward to you guys seeing me with a beer here in a couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Chief. On behalf of the Naval Submarine Support Center and Performance Monitoring Team Chief Petty Officers, Senior Chief Mack and Senior Chief Nielsen will now present Senior Chief Jones with his shadow box filled with the memories of 26 years upon the sea. The National Ensign is symbolic of the nation you have so faithfully served during your 26 years on active duty. The National Ensign will be presented to Senior Chief Jones by a flag detail made of members of Naval Submarine Support Center and Performance Monitoring Team. Flag detail. Host.
Flag detail. Forward. Forward. Flag detail. Halt. About. Base.
I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is held a little higher. My colors are a little true. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am respected. I am revered. I am loved. I am feared. For more than 200 years, I have fought in every battle of every war. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Angio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, the jungles of Guam, Okinawa, Tarawa, Korea, Vietnam, and in the heat of the Persian Gulf, and a score of other places, long forgotten by all, but those who were with me. I was there. I led my sailors and Marines. I followed them. I watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill on Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-torn, and tired. But my sailors and Marines cheered me. I was proud. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped to set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it is done by those whom I have served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the surly bonds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the new frontiers of space. I have been the silent witness to all of America's finest hours. I have flown over the top of the World Trade Center after September 11, 2001. I have flown over its rubble to remind the evil in our world that my spirit will not be crushed. The American people will not be broken. But my finest hour comes when I am torn into strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly half-mast to honor my sailors and Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God. Long may I wave.
Senior Chief, on behalf of your shipmates, including those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice, we present to you the military member's most honored and treasured possession, our national ensign, the flag of the United States of America, one great nation, one which you have so proudly served and defended. This flag is the emblem of our unity and our power as a nation. Accept it, protect it, guard it, and so remember that the young men and women that you have trained, guided, and inspired will follow in your footsteps and defend it with equal pride. Retire the flag detail.
Retire the flag detail line. Flag detail. About face. Guard. March. Roll out.
Master Chief Tyrus Rock will now lead us in the CPO retirement creed.
All Chief Petty Officers, active and retired, attention to the retirement creed. Cover. 2. Chief's retirement creed. You have this day experienced that which comes to all of us who serve on active duty in our Navy. I say our Navy because your departure from active duty in no way terminates your relationship, regard, or obligation to the United States Navy and your fellow Chief Petty Officers. By law and tradition, U.S. Navy retirees are always on the rolls, ever ready to lend their service when the need arises. The respect that you earned as the Chief was based on the same attributes that you will now carry into retirement. You should have no regrets and should not view your retirement as an end of an era, but rather as orders to a new and challenging assignment to a form of independent duty. Remember well that you have been and will always be an accepted member of the most exclusive of all maritime fraternities, that of the U.S. Navy Chief Petty Officers. The active duty chiefs salute you, and salute. Ready, tip. The retired chiefs welcome you. We wish you the traditional fair winds and following seas.
Chief Petty Officers, please be seated. The watch will now be led by LNC Renee Banks of Naval Submarine Support Center.
For 26 years, this sailor has stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, this shipmate stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing on the horizon of history, this shipmate stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing his guidance and help, needing that hand to hold during those hard times. But he still stood the watch. He stood the watch for 26 years. He stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly in safety each and every night, knowing that a sailor stood the watch. Today we're here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved. Relieved by those who have led, guided, and trained. But as your Colton, front and center.
After Colton, I'm ready to relieve.
I relieve you.
I stand relieved.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Willing will now present Senior Chief Jones' retirement certificate. Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings.
Greetings!
This is to certify that Senior Chief Jones, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on this 9th day of April in the year of our Lord, 2021. Soon you will hear the command, boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. This order has been passed on naval ships from the 1500s through today. All navies of the world use the boatswain, sideboys, and call to bring aboard or send ashore all ship's company officers, visiting officers, and dignitaries. The sideboys would haul on the ropes and raise or lower the boarding platform so officers would not have to climb the ratlines when going ashore or to get aboard. This honor was extended to visiting officers, dignitaries, and port officials. It was not uncommon for the commanding officer of the ship to order up the jolly boat, a crew of 8 strong backs, sideboys, and a boatswain, to send an old shipmate to his shore retirement, home, never to sail on naval ships again. All hands on deck was passed. Speeches were made about great victories, battles fought upon the open sea, raging storms weathered, and the voyages to distant and strange lands and ports of call others only dreamed about. Today, our Navy has given most of the pomp and circumstance, honors, and traditions back to history. Time does not give us the freedom to do these things from the past. but we still have to stop all engines, lay about smartly, and drop anchor to pay homage to one of our shipmates going ashore. Boatswain, post aside, boys.
Post the side boys out. Side boys, post. Left or right, face.
Boatswain, stand by to pipe the side. Our shipmate is going ashore. Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Chief Jones will now report to Commander Wood and request permission to go ashore for the last time. Just as his family waited ashore all those days for their sailor return, Scott will not walk alone, but will walk alongside Katia as they start a new adventure. Boatswain, pipe Senior Chief Jones and his family ashore. Senior Chief, Submarine qualified, United States Navy, retired, Navy family, retired, departed. This concludes the retirement ceremony. On behalf of Senior Chief Jones and his family, we thank you for taking part in this time-honored ceremony. Please join us in congratulating them. All guests are invited to the reception being held downstairs directly following this. Please be respectful with COVID mitigations in place. Thank you.
You just retired.